I'm joined by three very fantastic speakers today. I'm going to introduce them one by one, and maybe also ask them to wave to you so that you know who they are. I'll begin with Dr. Sirish. He joins us from UK. He is a consultant geriatrician working with an NHS Trust hospital in Royal in the UK. Hello, Dr. Sirish.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, Santosh.
We also have Dr. Harnam Singh Madan, who is our consultant orthopedician and traumatologist, also an associate professor at the Department of Orthopedics at the SHKM Government Medical College, New Haryana. He actually is a fellow guest also through the REAN Foundation webinar series. Hello, Dr. Madan.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Santosh.
And then we have, of course, our own Dr. Rakesh Garg. He is the Executive Medical Officer at REAN Foundation. Doesn't need any different introduction. Hello, Rakesh.
Hello, Santosh. Hello, everyone.
All right, so let's get started. I'm very excited with today's topic because this is something that I myself believe a lot about how simple habits, simple behavioral changes can help us build up to a great, livelier, healthier tomorrow for all of us. And so I'm going to begin with Dr. Sirish. Dr. Sirish, you have a lot of experience as a geriatrician. And so sitting there in the UK, what challenges do you see currently in the elderly population? And have they changed really over the years?
Yeah, Santosh, yeah. So I just want to, initially show some data about UK and its demographics to have a brief understanding of, what's going on here. So Uma, if you don't mind showing a chart for me there about the population in UK and, how many are above 65 is considered a cutoff for an elderly person. So out of 67 million, that is 6.7 crores. You can compare with a moderate size state in India. So there are like 1.2 crore above 65-year-olds. Of which 580,000 are above 90 years as well. So in my practice, I quite means at any point on a ward of 30 patients, I'll have like about 6 to 8 above 90-year-olds on the ward. So obviously, like getting older and living longer is a good thing for humanity. But it also comes up with some challenges. Especially at an individual level and also, for the governments as well. Can you go one slide back, Uma, the previous one? Yeah. So just with the demographics, I'm saying like at the moment, we have like 1 in 5 are above 65, but they're projected to be 1 in 4. So quarter of population is likely to be like above 65 by 2039. So next slide, please. Also, there are a significant proportion of people who are living alone, which will have an impact on their, mental health and their ability to, get through day-to-day activities and things like that as well. In addition to that, next slide, please. I've given here life expectancy in UK, which is like you can see there. Comparatively, I think in India, the last figures were 70 years life expectancy. So about like 10-year, gap there. And in US, it's again near 79 as well. So, but there will be, some difference in the gender, which I'm not sure in the India and US situation, but that's the UK status. Yeah. Next slide, please. So as we get older, it's all about, how you get older and the healthy aging you must have seen. And I think that's mainly, as you get older, you will be accumulating like chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, in turn leading to like heart attacks, heart failures, or kidney failures and things like that. So those are what we call like chronic conditions or comorbidities. What this graph shows is that as you get older, you accumulate these comorbidities or chronic conditions. And the challenge for you at an individual level is to do your best to preserve that health into later life, so that you gradually you at least like accumulate these a bit later rather than the more younger you are. That is quite important because all of us focus so much on like wealth, but also you need to focus on your health as well, because from this graph, as you can see, like your happiness, life satisfaction, and those surveys have shown that you are much happier and with less anxious and things like that in later life. So post retirement, if you are looking for those nice holidays and enjoying with family and things, without stress of work and things, you need to take with you that fitness and good health. So that's why at individual level, those are the challenges for you to maintain your health so that you have a better tomorrow. Next slide, please. At a government level as well, it throws a lot of challenges. What this shows is actually the graph of what UK spends on its population. This is acute care is where you get admitted, for example, after a heart attack or something like that. So this is not talking about the chronic expenditure, the chronic conditions expenditure. So for example, if you are getting like medicines for high blood pressure or diabetes, that's not included. So this is actually where you are once admitted into hospital, that's the expenditure. So it spends almost like £2,000 per individual, once you are like near 80, 85 per year. Overall, like as part of, as a proportion of GDP, UK spends about 9% of its GDP on health expenditure. Whereas like as comparison, I saw that India spends 3.5% of GDP, and US spends like about 18% of its GDP on health expenditure. So, but that's not all government spent. So for example, in US, the Medicare and Medicaid programs, through that, the government spends about 40% out of that, the health expenditure. Whereas like 30%, I think, are from insurance companies, the private health, and then the remaining is from out of, people's pockets. So here in UK, the whole thing is actually borne by the government, the costs of it. So from the chronic conditions with its medication, you don't pay anything to, when you get sick or anything, and when you go into hospital, again, you pay nothing. So that's how much, the government actually spends quite a lot here on health expenditure as well. So all these are, as I said, like challenges both at individual level and for the governments as well, to actually preserve the health and, and treat any health conditions that develop. So it's your responsibility to make sure, like, you don't get into this spiral of diseases and ill health and enjoy your later lives. And for that, you need to start today.
That's a fascinating message. I really was quite fascinated by looking at the slide where it, once you get that one condition, the second and the third and the fourth one just pile up, and I mean the kind of life you will live with those number of conditions. And I actually did not know there are 6 and 7 conditions and those kind of things. I mean that will be quite terrible, right? So
yeah, means it's not uncommon because once we actually admitting the patient. Sometimes, it would be surprising to see the number of like previous cancer, operated on chemotherapy, and then their heart attack, then there is kidney failure. That's a big challenge for us to give the medication things. We need to be careful, like how much doses we need to give in presence of kidney failure. And they are more prone to side effects in the treatment.
Yeah. No, thanks a lot for that overview. I'm going to now go to Dr. Madan, and let's going to ask about how is the situation in India. What are the trends? What is it that we are seeing in India?
Yeah, Santosh. Actually, Dr. Sirish clearly told that the expense by the government in India is around 3.5%. So, and if we will see that the population which is dependent on this GDP expense, so we don't have specific data how much is the specific expenses. Because but the population, elderly population, is highly dependent either on the private sector, and rest of the 40% are dependent on government sector. So if we will see the age distribution population in India, so you will see gradually from 91 to 2020 projections are there. So this is around Indian elderly population is projected to touch 194 millions in 2031, which is in 2021 it is 38 million. So there is over a decade, you see this is 41% increase. And I totally agree with Dr. Sirish that once you have one illness and it simultaneously combined with the other, it is very common if we will see that patient having a osteoporotic fracture admitted in the ward. So it is very common practice. First time we see that patient is also hypertensive, he is also diabetic, and he is also having chronic renal failure. So because the rural population, they don't have access to the healthcare, and that is the reason they first diagnose at a tertiary care center when they got through some accident, or by osteoporosis they got a fracture. So if I will speak about specifically bone health, so in elderly, if we will see that the osteoporosis, which is the most common reason for fractures, so here's a data which will tell you about the osteoporotic fracture. It is 1.5 millions fractures annually, and these fractures include hip, vertebral fracture, wrist fracture, and the rest of all. So maximum you will see that vertebral fractures are very common, and followed by hip fracture, and then followed by wrist fracture. And these are more common in 50% of women. They have fracture because of poor bone health and osteoporosis, and the rest of the 24% people have over the age of 50 years, and they will have 1 year, within 1 year they will have a hip fracture. Hmm. And this out of these, that means one fourth of the people who get hip fracture, they will get disabled. So if we will see the other diseases like which are simultaneously detected when there is a osteoporotic, then it is 1.5 million that is for osteoporotic fracture, while it is 51,000, 5 lakh 13,000 for heart attack, and it is 2,28,000 for stroke, and 1,84,300 for breast cancer. So the situation is grim, and it clearly say that you need to take care of your health, and it will not by a tertiary care, it is by a preventive care, also with healthy habits. And that is the reason we have a seminar today, and we are discussing that how we can improve our habits and how we can improve our bone health. So you will see the next slide. Here is the Indian scenario of hip fracture, which is projected for 2020 and 2050. So you will see that it is around in 2008 it was 1 lakh, and in 2020 it was near about 2 lakhs, and then followed by in 2050 that will cross around 4 lakhs. And in women, it is the incidence that it will cross 1 million. So in 2015, you will have 1 million females with osteoporotic hip fracture. And out of that, 1/4 will get disabled. So that says that you have to be very cautious about your health. You have to make yourself strong. Not only in the elderly population, these habits should be taken care from the younger age so that you can prolong your life and you will have a pain-free, mobile skeletal and a healthy life.
That's again once again staggering numbers, and kind of getting scary now about how these things are piling up on each other.
No,
And
we will tell that. We will tell that also.
yeah, so we are definitely want to move towards that thought about what to do about this, because all of us are going to get older. We are not getting younger anymore, and so what is it that we can do from here?
Yes.
How to build these healthy habits. So let me go back to Dr. Sirish, and once again shifting these gears from looking at numbers, looking at these thoughts that we have learned so far about getting older, how it impacts your health, your overall happiness, your overall well-being. And so how does the patient behaviors, how to form these healthy habits? Do you have any experience? What does it suggest? How can we do these things?
Yeah. What I would like to show is actually a graph here. It will give us an idea. So there is, under the graph is written a term called sarcopenia, which is actually the age-related muscle loss. I'm starting with this one because, once you have entered into 30 plus, you will start losing, your muscle mass, as it is written there, like about 3 to 5% per decade. So the clock is ticking, once you're 30 plus. So whether it is actually muscle or, bone or brain cells, so you have to act from there on. So if you think in a way like you have come to this world packed with a certain density of muscle, bone and brain cells, so from 30 plus onwards, you will start losing those. So these are the things that there are things you can do to actually change the curve, like either upwards or downwards. So when you change it upwards, it means like you are delaying that degeneration process. By like smoking alcohol and things like that, you are actually accelerating that loss of cells by those kind of lifestyles. So obviously it means it's a like an interaction between your genetic makeup, with what quality of the muscle bone and the brain cells that you came with, that you can't change, obviously. And there are environmental factors that will also have an impact on longevity. So for example, the air that you breathe, and the quality of water, and the healthcare facilities in your area. So all these will have an impact on your longevity. But on top of that, the main thing that is in your hands is lifestyle. When I mean by lifestyle, importantly, I'd say three things are the most important. So it's the balanced diet, where you need to eat depending on your level of activity. So if you eat excessively to and you're not that active, then obviously all that extra calories that you're eating will be converted to fat and deposited in the body. In addition to that, obviously there are so many other how you balance your diet with enough carbohydrates, and the fat and things will be available for you, I'm sure, like in many websites. Yeah. So maintaining that good diet, and then half an hour of exercise every day is advisable. So if you if you actually, maintain good diet and have a good exercise and maintain your body weight, an ideal body weight with a BMI between 19 and 25 when you reach 50, then you already have added, or like, you already have added like 7 years to your life. So that's a good thing, yeah. So fit at 50 is very important. So that should be your goal one, by maintaining good diet and exercise. And also, what in a Harvard study which showed like, on top of it, on top of your body weight, if you maintain this diet, exercise, and also moderate alcohol intake and no smoking, you can add 14 years for women and 12 years for men for their longevity. I think what I probably would add on top of, I just mainly mentioned about the weight and physical fitness. Obviously, mental fitness is becoming increasingly important in the current world with so much stress. So I think it's you need to again think through how you can reduce stress in your life, and also give body a good rest. So good sleep is also extremely important. So if you maintain that ideal body weight and your mental well-being, and attend the annual health checkups and screening programs, like there are sometimes in Western world there are like 5-yearly colonoscopies to look at like pick colon cancer earlier. And there are other, like for example, prostate checks and things like that. So all those screening programs to pick cancers earlier. Then with your physical fitness, mental well-being, and the health checks, you could actually healthy manner, so that as we saw in the previous graphs, you can have a happy life later. What this graph almost every day actually on the ward, because quite a few patients come with falls and head injury, needing brain scans. So what it's showing is actually the normal brain, you can see, is quite dense. And the other, what is like labeled as atrophy. Atrophy means shrinkage. So once the brain has shrunk, it leaves that islands of dark fluid. So those are called ventricles. So you can see how the brain volume has shrunk, leaving more of the fluid in the brain rather than actual cells. So this is, I must say, like one of the better scans that I found on the Google. In practice, I see it in a much worse state. So it's same here in the graphic form, where the total brain volume will be reducing. If you see, like that starts the countdown at age 30. So you start losing those neurons, and then the ventricle size is increasing. So that's the spaces in the brain. So means all these, as I said, like can be that rate of that degeneration is in your hands. So if you actually follow that healthy lifestyle, you can actually reduce that rate of degeneration. So if you actually maintain your healthy lifestyle, the lady on the right side, who is an athlete at 90, so you can be very fit. I mean, I again come across in clinics, quite a fit 90-year-olds who do the cycling and things like that. And at the same time, I come across like 70-year-olds who are very frail. So frailty is a like a recent concept in geriatrics. So where they have lost their muscle mass and bone, and also the brain cells, like we said. And if you pick up a disease, then their physiological reserve is so poor that they succumb to those infections quite easily. So similarly, like in practice, for example, if the like a healthy athlete, if she comes with a pneumonia, and a frail lady who comes with pneumonia, I know what's going to happen. The frail ladies will unfortunately not make it if it is actually a good going pneumonia. So it is the reserves in your body that will give you that ability to fight these external factors and diseases. Means we have seen that in COVID times as well. Patients with who are obese and diabetes and all these, they are the ones who unfortunately had complications. So that's how important it is, to preserve that health.
I love the language that you used after scaring us is about this, kind of building this reserve, getting ready for it, and how some of these things can actually have an impact not only on some of these ill understood concepts which are mostly known only by the doctors, but also by a common man. Say for example, preserving your weight, having a healthy habit of eating, how can it change actually the number of healthy years you live in? I think that's a fantastic concept, can be understood by everyone. And that was really, really well explained, Dr. Sirish. Thanks for that. And so, Dr. Madan, from your experience, what have you seen? I know you have done a lot of work on especially osteoporosis, so maybe you can talk about that a little bit. Sorry, we can't hear you, Dr. Madan.
So Dr. Sirish rightly told us that the diet which is having BMI in a normal range is very important in the early ages. And then as the age advances, it is important that you switch over to the healthy lifestyle. And it is important that you maintain a healthy lifestyle along with the physical exercise. Because for all, it is a truth that degeneration is inevitable. Everybody is going to go old, and but it can be delayed. It can be delayed with healthy habits. So what you need to do is take proper diet so that you have a good bone health, and you will have a healthy living and pain free life when your age advances. So these are the few causes which cause, in this there are bone losses. So you have to specific do physical, we will see that exercise, which is major concept. Genetic variation, you cannot change that, but the rest of the thing, if you will see, that are controllable and that a person can adopt. And so quitting smoke and having healthy diet for peak bone mass, adequate sun exposure, which is very important for synthesis of vitamin D, which is required for conversion of calcium into and deposition of calcium into the bones, and having a calcium supplements and diet with with regular medication if you have associated diseases. And you have to prevent stress. Yes, anxiety and stress is also a factor, which if at all that doesn't affect the bone, but surely they affect overall health of the individual. And especially in females. In females, after the menopause, there's significant changes due to hormones, and that lead to the osteoporosis, which typically causes fractures. So it is very important for women around 40 to 45 years age to take care of their health and add on to the calcium supplements along with vitamin D to carry on a healthy life lifelong. So I will give you few examples which are very important for being healthy. Like it is a common practice. It is a common practice being when you are sitting on a laptop, the position of laptop is such that your neck is flexed like this. So simply changing this to a level of having your eyes exactly at the level of the desktop and monitor, hmm, will gradually help you to prevent cervical spondylitis over a period of time. So this simple maneuver will help you, and you add you on to a pain-free neck after 45 to 50 years of age. So that being in a you will see that most of the IT people, they work around 8 to 10 hours a day. And one more thing which is very important, that you need to see the posture. What we sit on the chair, then we have two normal curvatures which are forward, they are called lordosis, and one in the dorsum and sacrum, they are backward, so they are called kyphosis. So these curvatures should be there, and recently ergonomic chair that is suitable for the people who have prolonged sitting jobs. So they come and they are available in the market, and so you can use that. Otherwise, else you have to make it a habit that whenever you are sitting, you are not lounging back like and falling on the back support of the chair. Sit straight. That will avoid back pain over a period of time. Third thing which we commonly do, what we do is whenever we sit on a chair, it is a common practice that you will drag your foot inside and under the chair. What is your personal experience in that, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Yes, and if you will see this increase flexion of the knee, that will increase the prevalence of osteoarthritis. The early it will develop the bone degeneration in the joint. So if it is better that you change it a habit, and in offices there are available stools or supports where you can rest both of your foot straight, and that will help preventing the osteoarthritis over the years. So these simple precautionary measures can help everyone to have a healthy life, and they can enjoy pain-free life in the future.
Those are fantastic tips. We have a poll open if our participants can vote what they think, because we're going to go to the next topic. But before that, I'm going to thank Dr. Madan for those excellent tips. I'm sure everybody who is listening to the webinar right now is sitting a little straighter. They don't have their knees tucked into, below their chairs, and their necks are a little high. So those are great tips. I'm going to follow them all the time.
So these simple tips matters for your future. And that is why in the elderly you will see we always advise that you should not have plain tiles. You should have anti-skid mattresses, and there should be in the supports in the bathroom. Never sleep in our elderly at home. They are reason because of their weak bones over a period of time they break down, and there is no need of fall. It even a trivial thing, missing a step is enough in the causing the fracture neck of femur.
Yeah, no, those are very important tips. Thanks a lot, Dr. Madan.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come to Rakesh. Rakesh, I know you follow this topic quite a bit. You have very interesting opinions. I saw your post about the webinar and how you have observed this very insightfully about the situation in Punjab, about how these things are affecting now. So I would really love to know about your thoughts on these, and especially how technology can play a role, because I know that as a techie plus a physician helping develop REAN products, you are helping REAN Foundation to build these products to help some of these things. So can you tell us about what are your thoughts and how we are helping from technology perspective here?
Thank you, Santosh. Thanks a lot, Dr. Iris and Dr. Madan, for giving such a wonderful insight about the importance of having good habits to enjoy our elder age, like instead of becoming burden on the society. If we want to summarize the all issues Dr. Siris and Dr. Madan discussed so far, we can summarize these as one of the major issue we can see the brain aging. Like aging with age is the biggest issue we can see in all the age as we are getting elder. And second issue we discussed so far is the unhealthy food, which is leading to a lot of other issues. And third issue we discuss is loss of muscle mass, and loss of muscle mass leading to fall and fractures. And then definitely we cannot forget about like COVID-19 and risk during the pandemic like COVID-19. So as we are going to discuss about the technology, how technology can help us in like during the elder age. And before that, I will want to discuss about the issue of like loneliness, basically, you can say. If we see like youth of the India are migrating to other Western countries for like better future and etc. That's basically leading to like separation of the elders from the young youth, basically. And basically we are leaving behind our elder parents in country and moving to other Western countries. And that led to different kind of pandemic, or you can say epidemic, related to age. And we are definitely going to discuss that in detail, like how we can use the technology to cope up with those issues. And if we see like first issue, we can see a forgetfulness due to brain aging. Forgetfulness is sometimes minor, sometimes mild, sometimes severe. Mild forgetfulness may be like we are forgetting to take the medicine, and or we are forgetting to take the vital monitoring regularly if we are suffering from some kind of chronic disorder like hypertension, cardiovascular or diabetes. And or we can even sometimes forget like keeping the health record in place. Sometimes we visit a doctor, but health record are not with us. And sometimes we go to some places, we forget to like we forget to take specs and do not bring back, basically. And these are the basic issues. And sometimes if forgetfulness is severe, then sometimes elder people forget the address of their home also. Sometimes they go to the market or they go to the like walk for morning or evening walk, they even forget sometimes the address where we are living, and they never return back to home, basically. So how technology can help in this? Basically, like product like REAN health new application we build is helping the like elder population or anyone with chronic disease to like monitor their basically medicine. Like they can increase the compliance by allowing the user to set auto reminder to take medicine. Like our application can give a alert whenever there is time to take the medicine. And also we can give alert that you need to monitor the vitals like blood pressure, pulse, oxygen saturation, temperature, etc. And see, if we are going to take medicine regularly, we are recording our vitals regularly, then definitely that's going to improve the body for performance, like in over like years. Because if we are having some kind of chronic disorder, then these kind of things are very important to keep us healthy. And the second issue we discussed was that sometimes we forget to take the prescription or past report with the doctor when we are visiting for regular checkup. So our app also provide the option to keep the data about prescription or other reports in its app itself, so that we can share with doctor whenever required. And this app is basically like HIPAA compliant, and it's basically like having all kind of handling privacy concerns. So people do not need to about the security of the data or privacy of the data. And second issue we usually see is that like sometimes elder population do not remember like what is the dose of medicine, and what dose they need to take. Sometimes they take a wrong dose of the medicine. So second kind of technology we can use is that automatic pill dispensers are there in market, which we can use. And these pill dispensers dispense the medicine at right time and at right dose, so that we do not take wrong medicine and or in wrong dose. The issue we discuss about that sometimes people forget their address when they go to outside for walk or in the market. Then GPC devices like some even smartphones have GPS enabled in them, can help us in locating the elder people if they did not return to the home on time. Like we have Google device locator. If we see on Google device locator, we can see where the mobile is lying. So or we can trace the elder population there, basically. Second issue we discussed was about loss of muscle mass. Loss of muscle mass and added with osteoporosis with age lead to fracture easily if person fall. And as I discussed that our youth are moving toward the Western countries, and we are leaving behind the elder population in India. Sometimes elder people are alone in the house, and no one is there to listen even to the cry or the shouting of the elder population that I have fallen, and that lead to added stress in the person can be there in the washroom, in the bedroom for hours without being attended because there is no one else in the home. These kind of issues need to be tackled. We can use the technology based like accelerometer and gyroscopic sensors usually are in the variable watches, which can detect the fall. Whenever someone has fallen, then that device can detect the fall, and then within 1 minute they can send the alert to some emergency service nearby, or the person they are first person to attend the elder population. Like they can even send a message or call to the son or daughter living in the USA, something like that. So that can help us in attending the person in time. Otherwise, person will be in the washroom on the bed for hours without being attended and lead to added complications. And sometimes what happens is that person is sleeping in the bed, and they do not know when they have fallen from the bed. This happens sometimes. And so for to tackle that issue, there are sensors we can keep under the mattress. And if someone was sleeping on a mattress and fallen abruptly below the bed, then that sensor can send alert and even send us SMS or call to the concerned person or emergency service. And then we were discussing about the unhealthy food, like Dr. Madan and Dr. Series told that what are the impact of unhealthy food in long run. It can lead to obesity, and obesity can lead to chronic disorders, or sometimes like unbalanced food, like deficiency of vitamin D or calcium, can lead to osteoporosis in the age. And that can be basically due to many reasons. One reason is that elder people is living in the home alone, like son or daughter is living abroad, and they are just two-person in living in the house, so there is no one to cook the food, and sometimes it's very difficult to hire a help, or not be able to help is there to cook the food. That lead to basically unhealthy food eating or missing the food sometime, like they are not like so much energy to go outside the market to buy the food, so sometimes they skip the meal also, or sometimes they are do not know what they cook or what kind of healthy food they can easily cook without taking so much efforts. So our REAN Health Guru application provide a option to track the calorie intake so that we can know like if we have taken the sufficient amount of calorie to being healthy, and then it can also give some kind of warning that calorie intake is low or their nutrition is missing some kind of essential nutritions. And and also we have REAN Foundation forum where people can discuss about like what they can eat or what are the options to have healthy food in nearby areas. And even we are publishing some kind of articles and some kind of recipes on our blog, REAN Foundation blog, where users can take help of like what kind of food they can take during the elder age. And then we were talking about loneliness. And as I told, and even Santosh was talking about Punjab. Punjab is basically famous for like having migration of all the youth toward the Canada. Like sometimes we see that there is no corner of the world where we cannot see the Punjabis, and everywhere there is basically. I am also belong to Punjab. So basically, this kind of youth migration is very kind of becoming a pandemic now. Basically, not pandemic, sorry, it's becoming a endemic inside Punjab. Like if we see every house of Punjab have one or other children or youth have gone to Canada, Australia, Europe, USA. So there are a lot of elder couples living alone. Like there's only husband and wife living alone in house. Even sometimes, like unfortunately, one of the person expired, then only one person living there. And that kind of loneliness lead to many kind of mental disorders. And most of the elder population suffer from depression because of this loneliness. And but like we have to see the future of the youth also, and we have to take care of the elder population also. So here technology can help us in handling this loneliness. Usually we say that we can have video call using the mobile phone or tab or laptop. But even for having video call, there should be time. Like youth, children living abroad should have time to have a call regularly with the parents. But sometimes due to busy schedules, we are unable to have some idle time to have conversation with the family for hours. So what I usually suggest is that we can have some kind of camera TVs. Camera TV can be set in the you can say dining area or some kind of lobby, and where elder population people can see the activity of their grandchildren playing in living area. Usually, what we say that grandmother or grandfather usually have more love for their grandchildren as compared to their own children. They want to see their grandchildren playing, and if we can install this kind of TVs in our living area, then they can lively see the children playing, and that can help in removing the loneliness in the elders, but also help us like attaching our grandchildren back to the grandparents. Like grandchildren can have long call, basically like hard call. Suppose their parents are have been into office and they are alone in the home. They can have chat, conversation, other activities with their grandchildren, grandfather or grandmother back in India or any other country. Okay. Uh, mm, so
That's
this
like,
is about, yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is about that. Basically, a mental health are basically most ignored topic. We can see like
Yes.
in countries, like sometimes we even see taboo attached with a mental disorder or mental illness. Basically, like people say like this is basically we cannot easily discuss with other people, but we should feel free if we are suffering from some kind of loneliness, because that can, if that gets fear, that can lead to suicidal attempts also sometimes.
Rakesh, I'm always fascinated with the breadth of knowledge you have and the way you make it easy for the technology adoption. I think that only can come from the experience you have on the ground and the technology understanding that you have. I think this, this overview of what REAN is doing and is planning to do for this population, but not only for this population, but for others who can help them in these fashions, how caregivers who are remote from their parents, from their elderly relatives, how can they take care of some of these things? I think that overview was fascinating. Thanks a lot for that overview. We are coming towards the end of our session, but I have two questions already from the audience, and I'm going to request everybody on the call, if they have any questions, they can post it on the chat now. But two questions to begin with. All of you spoke about the world we live in and the stress that we have from day-to-day life. What do you think, that we can do about this element, and how does that impact, some of the things that we spoke about? Any of you can start, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I would like to answer that. See, the loneliness and stress related conditions. So these, rightly said, as told by Dr. Rakesh, most of the people in Punjab, young generation, they are looking for Canada and they migrate, and their elderly parents are at home. So installing these video cameras and scheduling a call daily with their grandchildren or with their parents, that will obviously help to make them happy. And when they will be happy, then they will also be healthy. And this technology, if you will see, the remote penetration of health services in India is poor, and that we have realized that the post-pandemic, that the government is trying its hard best to do provide the services, but this technology can help a lot. And these technology in the form of teleconsultation, timely interventions of minor things which happen at home, and like as told by the, we routinely publish the REAN Foundation blogs, and I answer the question on the forum. and these are very helpful to create awareness about healthy habits. And what one thing I want to mention, that recently IRDA had also forced insurance company that to include health promotion behavior. Now the most of the health insurance company have come up with the either credit points or discounts for the annual health checkup, and they provide that you connect your smartwatch with the application, and over a year, if you have scored this much of the points by doing exercises daily into the gym, and then yeah, for the next premium you will get a discount. So this is also a way to improve and improve the healthy habits, and this is the one sort of technology which is helping
Mm,
to build a better healthy India.
fantastic. Dr. Sirish, do you
Yeah,
have?
just to add, like, stress, I covered like in physical, mental well-being as well. So the mental well-being part, at a pathological level, it will cause release of certain hormones like cortisol and things like that, which will in turn have a high blood pressure and high glucose levels because of higher cortisol levels. So that in turn, high blood pressure and high sorry, high sugar levels will cause damage to the other organs. So it is quite important to actually, on the other hand, like if you are happy, the endorphins and dopamine type hormones that are released will have the reverse effects of that. So it's very important to actually address that problem. Obviously, it is very individual. A thing that is stressful to you might be an enjoyment for me. I might actually love my work, but another person might actually feel it quite stressful. So it's very individual, the stress. So you need to definitely get to an understanding of what is causing the actual stress for you to address that. And obviously socializing and also identifying like what actually makes you happy, and those kind of things are also important to come to the other side of the thing.
That's a fantastic tip. I think, yeah, this, understanding what stresses you is so important before you take action about it, right?
Yes.
So that's very
Absolutely.
useful. Rakesh, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I will say like as Dr. Muzan and Dr. C said, like mental health. If we are mentally well-being, then we are like going to have all kind of complete healthiness basically. Like sometimes mental disorders run in the family. Like we really do not we ignore that point. Like if someone in our family had a episode of depression or something like that, that you are also like high risk of having such kind of depression. So there should not be any kind of shyness or some kind of hesitation should not be there to discuss this kind of mental illness freely. Basically, like you should be able to discuss this kind of mental illness with a friend and family members at least, without any side. Because if we are not going to discuss mental disorder with other peoples, then that definitely sometime lead to
Hmm.
suicidal attempt also, and that is deadly thing we can have with us basically. This is what I will say.
Fantastic. Again, very good tip. We have last 3 minutes, and I'm going to ask you a rapid fire question. One, the same one to each of you. Maybe put you on a spot, but so we spoke about healthy habits and better tomorrow. And as you yourself, or of course you're a medical professional, but you're yourself a human being. And what Dr. Siri spoke about, I love that. So this question comes from that thought: is what are you doing yourself to make your tomorrow a healthier tomorrow? Is there something that you follow yourself personally?
Yeah, I think So obviously in our busy lifestyles, it is very important, like we discussed, like to preserve our health and find time to actually do that. So you won't get it by good diet. I think you have covered part of it, but by doing exercise and the physical fitness, obviously you will preserve that even better. And I normally am able to do like about 4 times a week, like 3 to 4 times a week, a half an hour exercise. Means it means it more than that is a hit and miss. So I think that much I can do, and also do some stretch exercise and things like that. Like Dr. Madan said, like the spine problems are quite common, especially with our desk jobs and things like that as well. So maintaining that spine alignment is very, very important, I believe, as our stretch exercises.
Fantastic, Dr. Madan.
Yeah, actually, I used to do daily 40 to 45 minutes of brisk walking, followed by 15 to 20 minutes of yoga.
Fantastic.
I try to never miss this morning habit, and almost 6 days in a week. That is my routine, and yes, surely following a healthy diet to maintain this body.
Excellent, excellent. And Rakesh, how about you?
Yeah, as you know, like I am tech savvy person and I usually spend approximately 8 to 9 hours per day in front of computer. And like Dr. Madan said, like bad habit of sitting and sit like looking at screen in like wrong way lead to a lot of problem. And even I faced a lot of these kind of issues in my life, like cervical spondylitis, something like that. And what I usually do is that like sitting itself lead to back pain. If we are sitting for long term, it lead to back pain. So I usually use the there's special kind of pillow in the market to sit. This is called a coccygeal pillow basically. Like if we sit on that pillow, back pain usually like reduced to almost 20%. That really helps basically. And second thing I do is that constant staring at the screen usually lead to dryness of eye. And I have alarm in my mobile for every hour. And it ran and it signaled to me that I should get up from the chair, stretch my arms, and then some kind of ringing of my eyes. This is second step I usually follow. And third tip I usually see that laptop I do not use for long hours because laptop screen is usually like downside. We have to like move our neck down.
Yep.
So I usually use a screen, desktop screen, to make our neck straight. And these are 3 steps I usually follow in my work.
Okay, so all three of you are not only preaching, but you practice what you preach. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah, right.
fantastic. Okay, so we are at the end of our hour of discussions. I think this was a fantastic discussion for our participants and whoever is watching this on the recording. We will be happy to take any more questions you have. So please contact us through our website or on our social media channels. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We will meet you in a month's time, hopefully. And in the meanwhile, a very happy Diwali in advance to all of you. From REAN Foundation. Thanks a lot for joining, and thanks a lot all of you for doing this wonderful discussion.
Thank you,
Thank
Santosh. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.